everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today, together, we're going to paint this gorgeous scene of a Maine Coon cat amongst pink flowers, step by step, fully explained so you can paint along with me at home. And I genuinely mean that. There's not going to be any fast forwarding. There's not any whipping through the lesson. It is all real time and actually explained to you so you can follow along. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that the mini cameras that we have here, because we have multi-camera angles, are pointing at whatever I'm doing, zooming in when you guys need zooms. Also making sure that if there's a text notification, he sends it out. If you are in North America and you'd like to join our text notifications so you know when we're live, you can sign up there and we will text you when we're live. Hopefully we texted everybody today.
I think so. If they're going, if they're in flight for sure.
In flight. There'll be a text going out
through the tubes
we try
of
to
the
tell
internet.
So this is our last big class before acrylic August starts on August 1st, and I'm excited about that. Ooh, so we're going to be really diving deep today, and this is going to be a deep dive. I would say I put it right where the winter apples are at, or the winter horse, or the cat bat from Halloween, or the witch's cat. Like, this is going to be one of those gorgeous little oil looking paintings.
Yeah.
I just recently got Maine Coon kittens, and this kitten is not my cat, because my cat would pose in flowers.
Plural. Two of them. They came in pairs.
But he is a black tabby like this, so I feel like it's like painting him until I can get him to an arboretum and get him to pose anywhere. I am not quite a pet photographer yet, so we have to rely on the talent of other pet photographers to win the day. All right. So I'm super excited. There's really nothing for us to do but jump on in. I'll go over the materials. You can check in the description below. They're listed there as well. And there's also a link to the traceable. Today we're going to be using a transfer traceable onto the image so that we are not adding another 30-40 minutes of drawing freehand into the class. So that's available for download on the website. Materials are, this is a 12 by 12 surface. Now, if you don't have a 12 by 12, you could paint on an 8 by 8 if you happen to have it around. You just print out the...
what about 10 by 10?
10 by 10, 20 by 20. You just have to size the traceable to the canvas that you're doing. So I'll tell you how much I enlarged the traceable for this canvas, and then you would just print the traceable if you were doing 8 by 8 at its regular size at 100% on your printer. Now, I have Mars Black, Phthalo Green, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Ochre, Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Titanium White, and right here I have another thing of Ultramarine Blue and Mars Black. And I'm also going to put out, because I know I'm going to need it all day, is some satin glazing liquid. Now this stuff slows down the drying time of my paint. That's why it's called an open. It means it's going to be a little bit longer before it dries and gets sticky. And it will allow me to glaze and get some really cool oil effects. So, all right. Satin glazing liquid. And Jenny says, I'm excited about acrylic. I especially got got news my place in Jasper. Oh, I'm so sorry your place burned to the ground. That's terrible. Unsure what will happen next, but I'm safe and have painting supplies for August. I'm so glad about all of that. Very much. The bug, thank you so much. Shrimp dollars for Vigo and Inoki. We will go get them some shrimp because that's their favorite treat. Okay, let's get on to step one. Start having some fun in our art. Step one is going to be great. We're going to take a big brush. In this particular case, I'm going to use a 1-inch oval mop because it's just a nice, easy brush to paint a large canvas with. You just pick a brush, not a tiny brush. Don't pick a teeny tiny brush to paint the whole canvas like this. You want something big enough to cover the canvas. So I'm going to get it a little bit wet, drag off the extra water. I'm going to come over to my black and blue, and I'm going to make what is commonly known as a Payne's gray, which is a blue gray. And I'm going to paint the whole canvas with that color. Can be streaky, can be kind of hot messy.
I hear Payne's gray being thrown around a lot.
Yes.
That's like one of those artist staple colors.
It is a staple color, and often artists use it in place of black. You can buy Payne's Gray as a pigment already mixed in a tube, or you can just take Ultramarine Blue and Mars Black or Phthalo Blue and Mars Black to get what I like to call the blue steel of Payne's Gray. Oh. The Zoolander of it all.
Gotcha.
So I'm just taking my Ultramarine Blue and my Mars Black, and I'm kind of mixing them 1-to-1, and I'm painting the whole canvas. That's all we have to do for step 1. Just paint the whole canvas a solid color. That's not too bad.
It seems fun.
That's a doable thing. I had wishes and intentions that I'm painting into the canvas that I want for everybody out there in the world. I hope you have hope, joy, and love in your life, because those are the things that make life worthwhile. I also hope you have purpose and health and, of course, just all the good things. I just want us all to have, all of us to have all the good things. And I'm excited about anything that's going to bring us all together and give us the good things. And I think art does that. Coming here and just painting up the canvas. It's resisting the paint.
I like how dimensional that color is. Just, as I look at it, it creates all of these, wonderful
depths.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Heather C. And thank you, Bug and Bug. Like, there's 2 bugs. And then a Heather C. Thank you guys so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. Big classes like this are hard to do, and we, of course, appreciate the support. But we also just appreciate when people give us their time and their passion and their trust to do a painting. It takes a second sometimes to paint one of these bigger canvases with solid color. You may find that your canvas is like almost resistant to the color and you really have to work the paint in. That's another reason that I really like doing this. Now I have another Maine Coon painting that I did right after I got out of the hospital, a white Maine Coon. And so I'm excited to see how I do with this one and compare it to the first one I did. Because the first one was like a real challenge for me. I really worked to get through it, but this one I'm going to be doing in a single sitting, which is extraordinary. I'm just working that paint into the canvas. I think it's good. Whenever you're finished doing a solid paint color like this, go ahead and rinse your brush out, dry it, and put it to the side. That way you don't get acrylic paint drying in your brushes, because that just ruins them. Oh, Simple Goddess says, hands down, you're the best painting teacher. Well, that is exactly what all of us would want to hear. So thank you so much. That just means the world. And I know we all have our favorites, so I appreciate when I'm somebody's favorite. I am going to dry this canvas, and when we come back, I'm going to show you guys what we do next.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining us. You can find a link to materials, description, our website, all sorts of cool stuff in the description down below. We hide that stuff there for you guys so that, if you need to know what the materials are or where to get them, like we do have a store where you feel like, and it's a great place to support us because we support the people who manufacture these products by making sure we get it through all of the chains of distribution so that you guys are getting really quality product, directly in from the places that it's supposed to come from, not like, as they say, the gray market of art supplies. We direct proper stuff. So I don't know how to market ourselves. We're not very good at marketing our store, so I don't exactly know what to say other than we have one, and we really appreciate it when you buy from there because it supports us.
Yes, thank you so much. Yay!
But your local art store is probably they need, they're good too. They're good too.
They're good too. All right, I'm going to put this over towards the right-hand side. So I printed out my traceable at 120%. And what it does is it makes the cat fuller if you're doing the 12 by 12. I think you could probably go up to like 12 by 12. But if you did a 14 by 14 or something, I think you could go up to 130% and just fill the whole page before you'd have to do two sheet solution. This is not a 3-body problem. It's a 2-sheet solution. That's only funny if you read the book or just saw the Netflix show. Not a 3-body problem. All right. So once I have affixed that down, I'm using a product called Sterile Transfer Paper. And I put this under my traceable. the dusty colored side down. And I use low tack tape and I affix my traceable to it. Then I'm going to use a tool called a Micador EcoFlow. You don't have to have this exact pen. I'm just telling you what I'm using because it has ultra smooth ink. They're not a sponsor. I'm just sharing that with you. I like to use a pen with a color because then I can see where I've been in my traceable. And I'll go ahead and put my glasses on so I see very well. This is a great time for questions and things because I'm going to be doing the tracing. You just go right over the lines of the traceable. And what will happen is they will be transferred onto your canvas, leaving a copy of what we have here. So what you do is like you freehand everything on another piece of paper and then you work out all your sketches and then you transfer them to your canvas. Put my little eye slits in just so I know where those are because this is where I tend to when I'm sometimes in the middle of it I tend to get off axis and I end up kind of making my kitties cross-eyed, so we're going to try not to do that, but there's no guarantee.
You know, all kitties have a certain amount of derp. I think they just come with it.
They do. It's so true. But don't say that because they'll quit speaking to you. Now, because this is a Maine Coon, this is a pretty significant chin here. So we don't want to lose that because we want the square box of the face. We definitely want our nice big ears. And we're going to be using lots of tools to get the nice little tufts on the top of the ears. And if we're doing this transfer right, when we pull this away, what we'll have is a drawing of white lines, a copy of what you see here. Okay, let's see how that went on. Oh, that went on lovely. Okay, I have a cat on a canvas. Now I have to fill the canvas with flowers in the background.
That was a good step.
It was a good step.
That was step 2, drawing in the...
Step 2 is drawing it in, so you can freehand it in, or you can use a transfer method. Whatever works better for you, I think is fine.
So now we're going to begin...
We're going to get another coat.
Oh, you're going to draw it again?
No, we're going to paint a second coat on the background.
So step 3 will be this?
Yeah, step 3.
Paint some more.
Paint some more. Back to the blue and the black. Blue and the black, but this time just a smidge of white. I'm going to get a little bit of my glazing liquid in here because I'm going to want to start to create blended backgrounds. Blue and black. I'm going to actually go darker here first because I want it to be deep. These woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. I told everybody we'd paint this painting. I'm painting around the traceable. I might come in with a little bit of white into my color here. Kind of create some little... And sometimes it's a little hard to see when it's shiny. Like it's hard for me to see it when it's shiny. It's like I have to like trust that it's there. Which is why we switched to satin so that the camera wasn't so overwhelmed. Just creating some interesting dimensionality in the background. Yeah, we're just getting that there. Maybe a little more blue. Softly put in some little distant light. The lucky thing is I can see it in the overhead camera, which is nice. So I can kind of get my little out of focus in. Because that's one of the things I really liked about this background.
Your perspective on the perspective?
My perspective on the perspective. Just getting some little different bokehs in. Some little out of focuses in. All right, back to the blue and the black. I may need to put some more blue out here. Blue, I'm blue, ba-ba-dee-ba-da. Never in any danger of getting content ID'd. All right, so I'm coming here and I'm taking my blue and my black again. And I'm going to go ahead and hit a second coat. And this is going to make this very rich in color.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it'll have great depth. That's the first trick of having acrylic kind of look like an oil painting, is getting that glazing, beautiful depth that we're looking for. I'm just pulling these through, and it just creates a deep, dark background. And that's what you want to start. Deep, dark background. While it is all still wet, I can come in and grab a little of that like white. Mix it over to where my blue was. Come up here in the upper left, adding a little bit of a softening. Now, I'm not scrubbing my brush into this. I'm being very light with this brush. There's a 1-inch oval mop. And here's a note on that in case you're really new to my channel and you don't know this already. These come in a goat, which is white, a natural hair, which is black. But what you want is the synthetic, which is brown with dark bristles at the edge. So they're all called the same thing, and you just got to be careful online when you're buying them. So I'm just making sure that I've got, oh gosh, little distortions back here. A little bit, you know? Yeah. We're starting to. I'm going to rinse out. Now for the next part, because it's tough to mix in, I'm going to dry everything, and when we come back, we're going to continue to create this out of focus background with the distant flowers that are far away.
Whoa, and there goes phones ringing and all sorts of things going on at our house here. So it's exciting. I have to watch the buttons being pushed. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out, watching all of the things all over the places. Yeah, dry your surface. This is turning out pretty good. I like the kind of bokeh-y soft stuff that this turns into. Bokeh-y soft background.
Bokeh-y soft
Bokeh-y
background.
soft.
So we're going to make some bokeh-y soft backgrounds.
More of that?
More now.
You're going to continue that different
We're
step?
going to continue this in a different step.
New step.
I'm going to get some glazing liquid on my brush. And we'll go ahead and grab a little burnt sienna. I'll add a little cad yellow to it. I'm going to come over here and start to add a little brown glaze over. It's just going to create some nice depth where our flowers are going to be. Come around here, up into the upper left corner. It's a light thing. Yeah, the glazing medium is kind of important for this. When you get into these 3 hoots that look like oil paintings, you really have to have some type of retarder. And that's what the art industry calls mediums that slow down the drying time of your paint. I like that Golden calls it glazing liquid, personally. It doesn't, the other stuff can be really tough to get to dry. And the glazing liquid will dry for you if you need it to dry. I can always come and get into a little darker color here. And blend. I'm going to end up resketching all around here, I'm sure. Just going. I'm going to rinse out. Nice little brown there, right? Little glow of brown. Now I'm going to take a little of my Quinacridone and my Cad Red together. And I'm going to mix a little white into it. Maybe a little yellow. I'm going to start to just touch my brush in a few places, creating these little clusters of out of focus flowers.
Yeah, that's cool.
We kind of did this in the, remember when we did the rabbit and the cat portrait?
Mm-hmm.
When the Renaissance one was very similar techniques to this. I'm just dusting those colors through. Ready, player, layer one. All right. If I need glazing liquid, I grab a little bit of it.
I find it really kind of
Come
amazing
over here.
that you can remember any specific one lesson.
I can remember 2,500 lessons.
For me, it's just
That's why I'm like the one they get when they got to approve stuff in group, and nobody knows if it was one of my tutorials because I've done so many now, and then so many teachers kind of
it's like a
use
C.
me as a roadmap or a blueprint so their stuff can look like my stuff, even though it's not my stuff. And so, like, sometimes I'm the one that has to remember all. They're like my babies. I remember all of them. I know them even from ones that look like them.
It's amazing because it's like, you'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be that we did it on this day and it was like this and this, and I'm like, I can't remember what I did yesterday.
Well, today I did get in here a little bit crosshaired for sure. I'm grabbing a little of my quinacridone back into my Cad Red, a little bit of yellow. I might get some brown involved right now. Bring that over here. Just creating some little dark and down low. Down low. A little bit of pink there. That's looking good. Rinse out, rinse out, rinse out, rinse out. Grab a little bit of white. A little yellow into my pink mix. We're making a lighter color of our pink. Loading up, and I'm going to come here and touch the brush a few places.
You're going to impinkify it.
We're going to give it slightly pinker backgrounds.
More pinkness.
These little distant marks. These are flowers that are out of our little focus, right? And they're... And dance these down here.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. And you don't have to have every little thing that you see. You just kind of capture what is the overall gist. You got to get the gist.
The cat gist.
The gist of the cat. Let me put a little more red in there.
That
a little more quinacridone. Kind of changing up that pink a bit.
More ephemeral than AI consciousness.
Don't even get me started.
Well,
I mean, do get me started, but that could be its own podcast. I'm adding little bits, pops of pink, brighter pink here.
Do you really think the cats are that sophisticated?
I think the cats are incredibly sophisticated. Cat society should not be underestimated. I'm adding a little bit of this pink here. I'm just kind of bringing that color around. So these are going to be flowers that feel out of focus to us, but then as we come in and add, more color and more detail, it will, to your eye, be like, oh man, that is distant flowers and up close flowers, and that's kind of lovely. Grab a little more white here.
Okay. So I know it may be slightly off color. But I like that other YouTuber like KLR who does the voices for all the animals. And
the animal voiceover place. Yeah. KLR Productions. Yeah. It's KLR Productions.
They
do
dancing.
Not child appropriate. Just to warn you right now, that definitely always needs. It looks like it could be all family content, but it's not because they tell some off-color jokes.
Not work safe.
Yeah, not safe for work. It's blue.
But it's funny.
It's very funny. They're a clever group of... They're clever.
Mm-hmm.
They're super, super clever.
The raccoons are my favorite, though.
Yeah. Anything from the Raccoon Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharon, Tuna Tuesdays.
I love the catnip chant.
Catty-nip, catty-nip.
That's right. That's what's done.
That's me and Mouse. Oh, I'm so funny. All right. So, hey, we teach painting over here, but we sometimes get distracted by other YouTubers. Now, we're going to dry everything that we see here. I'm going to put this brush down again. This was the 1-inch oval mop Princeton Select. This is a really fantastic brush. I use it for clouds. I use it for blending. I use it for skin tones. It's really good. Self-promotion, shameless self-promotion. We do sell them at the store.
Yes, we do.
We have an art store and we sell them there. Actually, all the stuff you see here, we sell there. I'm going to dry this, and when we come back, I'll show you the next step.
There'll be more. So, I appreciate it that you guys are also supportive in here by liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those, human and semi-human things, the catty things. So, thank you guys.
That's looking pretty good.
It is.
I'm going to get my little chalk pencil out and sort of resketch in some of my lines.
Okay, we got a new step. Step 5.
So this is just a chalk pencil, and I'm just putting back my lines anywhere that I might have lost them. I made a point of making sure our traceable was inside the fur line so that when we go to fur the cat, you've got room to like flip the fur.
Oh, right, that's true, yeah.
Now, let's get a number 6 round sepia brush. This is a number 6 sepia round. And I am going to start working on the eyes.
Now these are substantially bigger kitties than I was expecting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big. I'm grabbing a little bit of black on my brush. And I'm just going to come in here.
Ooh.
And paint on the inside a little bit of black. And if I need to, thin my brush with water and come up over the eye. And under the eye. And then come around the underside here. Rinse, 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 rinse. I'm going to put that aside and grab a little detail brush. This is a number 1 Princeton Select liner. So you just need a tiny little brush, like you do micro, you could do a lot of little brushes. I'm going to grab some of my cad yellow and a little of my phthalo green together, and I'm going to make a green yellow that is quite vibrant. And paint the inside of the eye. With this bright, bright green. You might be able to paint it with the number 6 round too, but I like to switch down to a liner, which just
makes it easier.
Yeah. I think we're having to replace the stock of these in the store.
So is a sepia brush stiff or soft?
It's a mixture of soft and stiff. So it has a Taklon that has good spring. That's the stiffness. But the smoothness of the Taklon, the way they designed it with the belly, lets you do smooth strokes. It's actually a nice marriage of both. So you could use it for soft-bodied or heavy-bodied paint. Now I'm going to get my black again. I'm just getting this architecture of the eye in. It's important. Because I got to know where it goes. Now I'm going to come around the nose, sort of with the black line. Pop a few little knots, give that a little nostril. Now I'm going to get into this little mixtures over here. Little quinacridone, a little cad red. Paint that all in around the nose. Should be quite a dark color. At first. Might come over into my burnt sienna and my titanium white. For a slightly lighter color at the top. Also going to grab a little black and make sure the area around the mouth and down this part is well shaded. So when I add the fur, there's a shadow that we're adding fur over. So I'm going to join that there. At this point, my eyes have started to dry. Let me grab a sip of my kombucha so that I don't get woozy. Don't want to be woozy. Grab a little more yellow. It's okay if a little green gets into it to color it. Get a little white into that, so it's quite light. Come on this inside edge here. A little bit to this outside edge. Get our little green there. Maybe grab a little brown. Gonna come to the top of the eye. Just blend that in very gently. We're just creating some dimensionality. That's good for us. Just a little bit of a... There we go there. Sometimes as I'm painting, I'll be like, oh, I got to get more black on there. I'll recognize I need more of a lid around the eye. Because I need to have enough room to add fur. Making sure this is in good shape. It's fascinating how getting the eyes in just starts to pull the whole thing together. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my white. I'm going to take it over to my pink. Grab some glazing liquid if the flow isn't really great. And make a very light color. I'm going to come here. I'm going to see if it's the lightest line I can make. Just trying to make a very fine line along this outer edge. And then it just comes in just a hair. A little pink there. Wipe off my brush with my towel. Up here, grab some little pink. Little black. So I'm going to just make sure there's a little bit of a nostril there. And that's looking pretty good. Rinse, 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 rinse. I'm going to grab a little bit of my white, a little glazing liquid. Make a little outside ring and then a couple little cross there. Trying to say that there's a reflection there. And then this one has less of a reflection. It's more of a get a little highlight on that nose, just a little bit. Even less than that, I might trim it back. So I come back with a clean brush and I just make that a hair fine line. That's how I get that in there. That's how I'm fussy with that. Oh, look, we got eyes. It's like...
You have beautiful eyes there.
It's like we're painting a beautiful cat.
Yeah, it is.
And our beautiful cat is going to have beautiful eyes. And I love that. There's a lot to do. A lot to do. Let's put up another step.
We can do that. Just go on to the next step here.
Next step. And I think I'm going to grab a number 18 Raphael d'Artagnan Bright. So this brush is a bright brush. That's the shape of the brush. And the material it's made out of is hog bristles. So those come from pigs, so they're natural hairs. And I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to really dry it off, right? Because that's the trick with these is you've got to get the water back out of them. But I'm going to be able to do some really great dry brushing with this. So I'm getting it nice and wet. And I'm going to grab a little bit of my black and my brown together. Mars Black and Burnt Sienna. And I'm going to come down here and start to paint the part of the cat that is in darkness. Or the part that's furry but also is dark down here. I'm just bringing this across, and there's like this rough that we've got to layer over, so that's why I'm bringing this in now. I am thinking about brush directionality, so I'll curve my brush a little bit left when I'm on the left-hand side of the cat. And then as I come over here, I kind of curve towards that right, even though you can only barely see it. That's what we're doing. We're just curving. We're just making little brush strokes. I'm grabbing some burnt sienna. Just down low. It's in the dark. We barely see it, right? Grab this and let's hint at a little stripe that could be there. So black tabbies are really fascinating because they have just a little bit of the tabby, but a lot of their markings are black. I mean, that's, I guess, obvious and stuff,
right.
But it's super nice to paint that. Bring in a little stripe here. And maybe little bits right here. Just kind of implying just could be a little bit of fur. Grab my black and my brown again. I'm going to come under the chin. I'm just making sure that this has got some nice fur-like underpainting.
Yeah.
Right, because we're gonna get the grainers and the fur brushes involved. But to do that, we've got to kind of get that underpainting in. Blending that one down. It's just pushing that back a little bit. So it's there, but it's just so light, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just in here. Do we have any questions that I missed?
Let's see here. I'll go over and take a look. I noticed that everyone was really just loving how gorgeous these eyes are.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty baby.
Yeah.
This is going to look like our Vigo for sure.
And we don't really use projectors here. So April was asking if you had any suggestions on a projector.
So what I would say is, I don't think we have any for sale in our store, but Dick Blick has a fairly good collection of them. And I would go by and definitely read those reviews. I don't have a particular brand right off the top of my head that I like. But I think there's nothing wrong with them. And what I would say is that, for the purposes of hobby painting, I think anything over $100 would be overkill. You just need a projection onto your canvas. You don't need to have like one of those projectors that would let you do massive murals or something like that, because they can get quite expensive and complicated, and you just need like a simple thing that projects, like Artist Eye app does.
Oh, man.
All right. Scumble, says Michelle Brandt. And Vicky says, gorgeous eyes. Okay. I'm going to dry all this just to make sure it's dry, and I'm going to come back.
Pretty good dry.
With my next brush.
I got thoroughly dry between your steps. That's this important thing to do. That way, your layers go on there in the kind of correctly. If you don't, you can pick up the lower layers and kind of they can smear or not necessarily layer correctly. And acrylic paint really is a lot about layering. So you want to just thoroughly dry between those steps. That helps. We have dried.
We have dried the brushes. Dried. All right, I'm going to grab a hog bristle brush. That's a fan. This is a number 2 D'Artagnan, but it's just a small little fan brush. You could use a grainer here as well, a filbert grainer. Here's an example one, and we will be using a filbert grainer a little bit later, but I'm going to just use the fan right now to get this like deep hair. I'm going to go ahead and do what I did with the first one, which is get it wet and drag off the extra moisture. And now we're going to start looking at this kind of area of hair and how we're going to paint that through here. So I'm going to take a little of my black over to my brown. Grab a little white. Sometimes I might get a little yellow ochre involved. Getting that hair color. And we're going to just brush out the start. There we go. Some hair. Little short brush strokes, and you can see how I sort of tile them together, and that starts to create that sense of fur. A little more white, come over to the yellow ochre. Take a little bit more there, and I can come over and get my brush into the brown. And highlight some of this here. A little more white, a little more yellow. Come here and Flick out a little bit of fur in that light. There's a couple little areas that you could be like, oh, it's a little bit highlighted. Got some areas where maybe it catches a little highlight. You can paint with the corner of the brush to narrow the line. See, I'm kind of catching that corner of the brush. So I can go from the flat to the corner to paint large areas of fur as I need to. Now I can come through with like little detail brushes and things. For sure. There we go. He's looking cute. All right, let's dry everything. When we come back, I'll show you what you do next.
Gotta dry. Lots of drying between these
so
layers.
much drying.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
It's built by the layers. So if you're here in a layer group, don't mind the layering. It's just gotta thoroughly dry. And if you need to, you can hit pause while at this point, and then go to do whatever you need to do. If you need to go to get a snack or to feed the cats, because we have cats that are meow meowing, meow 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 meow. I gotta get food, meow. I'm starving and never eaten, meow meow meow.
Glenda the Good Easel asks if this is available for replay after, and it is. We leave these up. The resources remain up. Everything remains up, and it remains free.
Yep.
So there's no pressure on it.
You know what's next?
What?
Step 8.
Step 8. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch Princeton Select Filbert grainer. Now, if you can't find one of these, you can just take a filbert and a pair of scissors, and you come in and use trim. I'm going to make a 1-minute video. I have to do it before Acrylic April on how to make one. But it really is just, it's going to be a video of me going snip, 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 snip. So, and I just take a inexpensive filbert and make my own if I couldn't get these. I'm going to get them wet. And I'm going to start getting into my nice fur color here. I'll thin the paint a little bit. I don't want to mess it up too much, but I have to thin it so that the brush can do what it does. So I'm loading up. And I start pulling in some little S strokes that reflect maybe get a little of my darker color here so that the shadow is still super present. Little glazing liquid, little white. Come along that little part of his face.
Those little tufty whiskers.
Little tufts. Look at that. Now we're getting some fur on there. Some fur. Fur. Maybe a little bit of white up here. Make a very light color. Now, if I want to take this color and have it be a little more in shadow, I just go over by the Ultramarine blue and add a little blue to it. So it'll still be light, but it'll be grayed out. I've got 2 ways that I can do this. I can...
Multiple ways.
Yeah, multiple ways to do it, but this is my easiest first way. And come back through here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my burnt sienna. A smidge of my Mars black. And brush a little bit of fur that's coming down there a little more in the shadow. This is what we do in the shadows. We paint cats. Neha asks, how do you mix multiple colors for fur when you paint the cat? How would you be able to incorporate these different colors of fur in the reference photo? I'm not sure, to be specific, how would you be able to incorporate these different colors into the... Well, a lot of times you don't even have to have like the technical colors that you see there. Value is more important than color. So as long as your values are good, you could probably paint the cat in rainbow colors. I'm looking through and looking at these neutral tones, and I know on my palette that I've got yellow ochre, I've got burnt sienna, I've got Mars black, I've got orange that I can make from cad red and cad yellow, and I've got ultramarine blue to gray out some of my
right
fur. And so then I'm looking over here like this is more in shadow, so I don't want it to be as bright as the fur that I had going here, but I might blend this out a little bit too. Kind of glaze it out as we're trying to and just brush little hairs through here. He's just going to be very, very fluffy. They have like this lion's mane almost as they get older, and it's really gorgeous. I love it so much. I'm going to grab a little more of my burnt sienna. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, don't be like, ask again a different way, and sometimes I misunderstand the question. But I am literally here to answer questions, so guys, don't ever feel bad about asking me questions.
This would be a funny place to be like, don't ask me any questions.
This would be...
I just came out here
Annalisa says, my cat is slightly more reddish and slightly darker overall. How do I adapt the colors? So you may have more red in your burnt sienna. Or do you mean your personal cat?
Their cat. I think the cat that they
Annalisa,
have.
my personal cat is... So if it was more reddish, then I would use more oranges into my burnt sienna. If I was doing more tabbies and more reds and oranges, I would mix up some cad red and cad yellow as an orange. And then every once in a while, pull that into my yellow ochre, my burnt sienna, and even my Mars black.
You probably should swatch that out before you start the painting, too.
Yeah, and I would swatch it out. Swatch it out against a picture of your cat.
Yeah, swatch your cat.
But not the actual cat, a photo of your cat.
What do you mean, like...
Print out a photo of your cat and try to mix the colors you see there and swatch them onto the paper to see if you can catch it.
They tend to run away too quick to try to actually compare.
Yeah, they don't want
to be... Let me compare this paint to your fur. They're like, meow, I'm out.
Yeah, they're super out.
Well, our cats are.
All right, so now I have this sort of shaded little fur area, and I can start coming up and working on the face. But I do want to dry everything because I tend to rest my hand on the canvas. And when I'm doing that, I can drag paint, which I don't want to do.
And then that makes a smeary fur instead of a furry
Jenna
fur.
Green says, first live time as a live viewer. Hi, I hope you're having fun doing that. If you have any questions, put them all in caps. Either myself or the moderators will be able to answer them, and we're so happy to have you here. I'm going to dry.
It's dry. Yeah, it's an important thing, especially with the fur. You want to make sure that you don't smear it so it stays little crisp little furry furs. And to do that, you need to make sure you dry many times, many layers, because that otherwise they really can get smeary. So there's your fur tech tip for the day. Lots of drying layers to make your fur furry.
Make your fur furry.
And now
more of my little grainer here. I'm going to come in and start to do the little chin and jaw here, like down here.
The step that's most often missing.
So I'm going to take my yellow ochre over to my titanium white, making a very light color. This is that cream base for the fur. And then where I want it in the shadow, I'll take it over to the ultramarine blue. But first I'll come out here on this far edge and paint that little chin down. As I'm coming over to the side, I can get into my ultramarine blue, which will gray and cool the color of my fur and help it feel like it's more in shadow. I've become so numb. Grab a little more white. Kind of blend these through each other. Just making sure we get a nice little area here. Pull it out there.
Thank you, Beth.
Oh, thank you so much, Beth. Thank you so much. And thank you for the compliments on the painting. I really appreciate it. And today, just so you know, all our super chats are going to the cats for their shrimp, for their deep and profound shrimp habit.
They have a cat-sized appetite for shrimp.
I'm gonna kind of trim this back. It got a little far away from me.
But we only give them the just plain boiled shrimp, not flavored or seasoned or, you know.
I'll put that aside for a second. I think I'm going to want to come up into my ear, and I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red and my cad yellow, and I'm going to make a bright orange. Just want to kind of get that glow going in there. Get some of my, maybe my Mars Black onto my brush, kind of darken it a little bit. And I will just blend, 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 blend. And bring the dark from up here, kind of curve it around the ear. Maybe a little more of the yellow in there and some titanium white. And I might get some yellow ochre to keep it from being less vibrant. I want it light, but not vibrant.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jennifer says she sent me a private message, but it didn't go through, and I was just so touched at sharing your personal journey with us and brave, and you're an awesome artist. Thank you. Sometimes if you send it to me through Facebook, sometimes it does. It bumps it. It's an auto thing. It's not me doing it. But you can always write support at theartsherpa.com if you got it, like if you're worried that they're not getting through on Facebook. Now I've taken my brush and I've wiped it out on my towel, and now I'm gonna just carefully try to blend that little bit of light, the corner of that ear. Sometimes it's nice to capture that lightness in the ears. All right, I'm going to go and grab some of my yellow ochre, titanium white. And I'm going to paint a light line on the front of the ear.
those illuminated ears.
I'm going to put my glasses on. Get a slight highlight going. On the back side of this ear.
Can't wait to see yours, Beth, just so you know.
Rinsing out. And now I'm going to get a little black and brown together. Like you do.
I might have to go engage the boiler.
The boiler? What is that?
On the machine.
Oh, the coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah,
That's
well, I'm not going to stop you from getting coffee. I'm going to bring a little dark line in on my light line. And I'm going to bring another little dark line. The outside edge of my ear. Kind of like blend it over, blend it there. Oh, that's a nice ear.
It's a quite nice ear.
Very, very nice ear. We're getting it in there. We're starting to see what we're trying to see. We're starting to see what we're trying to see. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little glazing liquid and some of my light yellow ochre and white. I'm going to add some little hairs. I may need to, can I see it from the overhead, babe?
Yes.
Yeah, I need to come in with my little detail brush. Little fine lines for the tufts on the ears is very nice. Just need a little bit there. We'll define them a little more again in a minute. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to get a little of my brown and black. And come behind the ear. I'm going to just kind of pop a little shadow behind this ear. And then I'm going to get into my yellow ochre and white, but I haven't rinsed my brush. Start to put a little highlight there. Or start to get it in. Just the beginnings of it. And we have lots more highlights to put in, like if I want to come in and get some glazing liquid, get some white on my brush. And put some little highlights to that outside edge of that fur. Now I'm going to want to come through here and start pulling this through. And I think I'll start with like a middle range of fur color. I'll take my burnt sienna and my yellow ochre. Just kind of coming along that eye. We're going to pull this down. Starting to get our little fur in. Perfect painting for someone Meow Catalog, says Mary Myers. Thank you, Mary. Just filling in this fur. I can go ahead and get a little of my black involved. Right now I'm just trying to get fur colors in that are the neutral, and then I will put in their highlights. There we go. Just making sure that that is solid architecture for what we're doing. It is going good. I'm going to take my white over to my yellow ochre. Make a very light color. I'm going to come underneath the eye. I'm using my number 6 Raphael Sepia round. I'm going to come up over the eye. And a very fine line around the eye. And then a little upwards. And maybe another little upward. That's sort of the M, because all tabbies have kind of an M shape above their little foreheads. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab some black. All right. I'm going to come here and pull this little black marking down the nose a bit.
How you doing?
This comes forward. I think I'm pretty good. I'm going to get back into some hair color.
Okay for a minute?
For a second, yeah, I am. And I'm pulling this white hair down into the fur that I've already painted, coming over it with the brush, kind of blending and pulling that down. Now, if you're a very, very beginner and you're painting along with me and you haven't painted a painting since grade school, this would be a very challenging painting, even though it's for beginners and it's broken down into steps. You might want to do my beginner's acrylic course, which is free, and it takes off about 2 years of your learning curve, just figuring out the basic stuff. It just shortcuts some of that stuff that's so frustrating for new painters. I'm going to grab a light color here and I'm going to come in and sort of make sure that I've got nice, you know, like you do. I will definitely be coming back and blending in some other colors, but I'm just trying to make sure that this around the eyes feels like hair, because otherwise, what am I doing? I'm gonna go ahead and take my round. Oh, my round had some black in it. I got into the yellow ochre, but you know what? That's fine. And come here along the nose. With that light line. This side's going to be an interesting challenge. The 3/4 inch faces always are. I'm going to take my round. I'm going to get a little of the light color that I have mixed over here. This was the yellow ochre and titanium white, and it got some little ultramarine blue into it. Hmm?
How far from dry?
Pretty soon. Going to come here and just tightly along this nose. Back a little bit. Grab my filbert here, the 3/8 Princeton Select Filbert Grainer. And I'm going to start to follow the beginning of that. Kind of marking on the face. Go ahead and get a little yellow ochre. And I will be coming back, you know, putting in the patterns and everything from the dark hair. Right now I'm just trying to get a baseline of hair in. Under here and just sort of tap that. I'm going to grab a little bit of my Cad Red and Cad Yellow. Make a nice orange. Come over to my burnt sienna. I'm still using my grainer, using short little strokes. I'm going to paint up this little part of the nose. And get into my black. Haven't even rinsed out. I'm going to brush the hair in the direction of the nose. So where their hair is short, that's where I'm going to like change brush directionalities as I go. Tap, tap, tap. It's always hard to figure out, do I want to go white stripes or dark stripes first?
Always white stripes.
Always the white stripes, huh?
Always white stripes.
So just pulling that around there, just trying to give it... Oh, he's still looking so pretty, isn't he? Ooh, yes. Break time! Oh, rinse out your brushes if you're on break. If you're breaking like me and taking a sip of your coffee...
Got the coffees now. This is not just coffee, mind you. This is espresso.
This is espresso. This is how you finish the rest of this kitty
I
painting.
think you have an actual flat white.
Oh.
That made you.
That's some satisfying
foam.
stuff. Do we have any
Yummy
questions
foam.
we can answer while I am drinking coffee?
I was away making espresso. I don't know. I have
Read
not
the
been,
chat thingy.
Not been useful. Let me go over and it's.
The bug has had this coffee and can testify this is truly yummy.
Jane says it's beautiful already.
Marie Owen says, my son and I are going out to our shed today to locate my paints, canvases, and unfinished paintings. Lots of work ahead. Oh, I know how that is, having moved a few times. I do.
You know what can help you revitalize your unfinished paintings?
What?
Add Star Wars.
It's true. Yeah. All moons become Death Stars.
Right.
I love turning a moon into a Death Star. I also like to add the Enterprise to things, too. I like to trek as well. Not just Star Wars. I like to trek. I both.
A Kraken never
I'm
heard a
both.
scene.
I like Star Trek and Star Wars. Both of them.
Krakens do wonderful in lakes.
You know, the Rob Snyder moon thing. No, not as much, but you know.
This is a tasty coffee break.
This is a tasty coffee break. Oh my goodness. Do I feel revitalized?
Is it new steps?
Yes, the new steps. We're getting there. We are getting there. Now, I've got a lot happening over here.
In the 10th step. Do you need to dry it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to dry it just so I don't drag any paint because I've got to start trying to work this difficult area over on the far
makes
side
sense.
that's in a halo of light.
All right. So it's good to dry because the drying makes for the layers not getting drug and fur turning into just a streak of fuzz. We don't want the fuzz. We want fur. So make sure you thoroughly dry between those steps, and that will make your furry furry. And thank you to everyone who's been shopping in our store. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. We really appreciate the support. It's such a wonderful way to help us because we can supply you with great product at really good prices and we make sure that it's the actual real deal product, not fakes, not stuff like that. It's because we like I said earlier, babbling about the chains of purchase and things. So it's real deal product, real good. Thank you for supporting us so we can support them. We appreciate it. And now on with the 10th step.
Now on with the 10th step. I've got my little thing here. I've got to kind of really be prepared to get into some tight corners.
This cat's reminding me of Two-Face,
Yeah?
the DC villain.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why you heard the what?
Well, he's
Tone
only got
to
half
my-
his face painted.
Okay.
It's Two-Face. Dun. See,
So I'm going to very carefully with this particular brush, I'm going to come in here and start to kind of paint this side. This side is a little bit harder. I can come in with my filbert grainer in a second, but right now I just want to make sure that I've got fluid white here, so when I come and do the like bright white hairs, we'll be able to glow. To glow or not to glow. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of a...
I don't see that if you have an
highlight.
option to glow, then glow.
Yeah, if you can glow, glow.
Yeah.
If you can shine, shine. If you can sparkle, sparkle. Be the brightest star in the sky.
It's like...
I'm going to just bring that here, just kind of exaggerating these. I just sometimes get into it, like when I start to catch all of that there. Like you do. Now, I may turn this weirdly to the side a bit for a second.
Ooh.
Because I'm wanting to come in here on this outside edge. Make little hair marks that follow my traceable line down. Little tiny hairs coming over this way. To say that it's challenged to paint this side of it is an understatement. I'm going to go ahead and grab, this was my yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and Mars black over here. During fur paintings, I will be through the fur color mixes like left, right, left again. Just make sure that there's a little bit of a dark area here. I'll be able to come back with my little paint here. Let's get into this with the white. Yeah. Go back over to the yellow ochre. I'm going to bring that light color. It's really hard to get that, like, it's a tight tuck in there.
It's all about those tight tucks in there. Getting them nice and...
Right now, now we're just trying to get brush fur directionality. Values. I'm going to get into my black here for a second. Starting to get the far side. Hard to get the far side. I'm also going to come here. And I'll even turn it upside down. I'm doing this turning. What I'm doing is I'm staying on the direction of the fur.
Are you?
Yeah, that's how I'm. I turn the canvas. And then. There we go. I'm just being super cautious going through. It's looking pretty good though.
It is.
Come through here and kind of make sure that that's not so light. Blendy blend. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little of my black. And I'm going to paint down the ear. Back across the little head here. Using my 1-inch Princeton Select liner.
1 inch.
Not 1 inch. Number one Princeton Select liner.
I mean, I would figure it's a 1 inch long, maybe. not 1 inch wide.
And a lot of this is going to be coming back in and doing the stripes and the tabby on this cat. It's going to be an interesting challenge for us. Yeah. I'm going to grab, I'm going to go ahead and get a little of my yellow ochre and white. Load it on my brush. Come in on the inside of that line. Of that ear. And then I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to come up. Get more of it on here. I'm going to go ahead and add those little tufts to the tops of the ears. The little tufts. The little tufts. To the tops of the ears. Rinsing out thoroughly. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my cad yellow, little yellow ochre. We are going to really lighten some titanium white, these colors. We're going to like kind of warm up that white so it'll be like a warm white. It is going to read as white, but it's going to be a warm white. Slight yellow in it. It's a little heavy on my brush there, and that turns, so I'll have to come put that line back. That can happen sometimes, where you're just a little heavy on the turn. Back into the lining one. Come here. This was the Mars Black Burnt Sienna Titanium White. Let's come along here and just make sure that this is... Rinse that out. Then I will go ahead and take my grainer here. Start to paint the inside of my ear with this lightness. I turn the canvas.
Turn the canvas.
As the canvas turns.
I know, I was just going to go there. Too many soap operas as a kid.
They're still running. Soap operas.
They have become more sophisticated, I feel. I don't know.
I really doubt that. That's not what makes them fun, is their sophistication. I am really, really wanting this to be light.
If I had that as a gig, I would really enjoy doing probably that.
And I'm going to add a little bit of hair that blends out this way.
Working on a daily television show where you got to constantly be every day working on stuff to improve it.
Well, I mean,
we do here.
That's what we do here. I grab a little bit of my yellow ochre and my burnt sienna. Glazing liquid if I need it to improve the flow. And I'm going to come up in here and make sure I have a nice little fur. Kind of blends out there. See how we're doing?
I do.
Just a little bit. And then, we'll get into some yellow here. Go ahead and highlight up some of this. Like you do. I'm going to put out some fluid white now. Because I want to do some... I'm going to need it for the whiskers, and I want fine hairs, so I'm going to put out some fluid white acrylic. And let me explain to you what it is and why. So this is the same as my heavy-bodied paint, but instead of being thick and stiff, it's fluid and flowing. Same amount of pigment, same quality of pigment. Now you can get the same consistency of paint in craft bottle paints, but this is actually a professional level of it. So you can kind of see the coverage over the black stripes and the quality of that. You can thin out your white acrylic to do this, but I just like to have the easier time. It's really all it is. I just like to have an easier time
that
when I'm doing
sense.
it. Okay, started in here.
Do you
Come along this little outer edge with a little highlight.
Do you feel the coffee?
I feel the coffee.
Do you feel it?
I feel the coffee.
I feel it too.
I'm going to get a little white on the tip of my brush. And come along here with just maybe a little highlight. Again, we turn the canvas, not our bodies. So because he's curved this way and this brush is curved this way, that's an easy way for me to kind of flip that around.
Right.
Turn your canvas, not your body. A little white. I'm going to grab some burnt sienna and Mars black in here. And then I'll come over to my white. So what I'm trying to do is have a light color that's slightly muted. And then there over the mouth, I'm going to want to have that even lighter a little bit. So I rinsed my brush out. I'll grab some of my just white and see if we can't touch it. A little bit right there. And a little bit right there. So we're starting to do the halo. And come around this side here. Pump out the cheek a little bit. Gonna highlight this little outer edge. Little kind of S curving strokes. Maybe we bring a few highlights through the fur on this little outer edge.
Mm.
And that's looking good. I think I'm going to have another sip of my coffee. We are looking pretty.
I like it.
I'm going to dry it and coffee up.
You dry it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dry, 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 because in the drying is the details. And what I mean by that is if you dry it, it preserves the details by not letting it get all smeary and smudgy and squishy and squashy as you go through the painting, which is definitely what you want. So drying is useful. And it serves a purpose. It does. It's purposeful. Purposeful drying.
I gotta have a sip. Do we have any questions I can answer?
Let's see. I have
any
to remember.
Super chats we can thank?
Next step is going to be 11. So that right now I'm going to do this because there was somebody I think asking about it. Oh. That's how you join the SMS if you would like to join.
Oh, Annalisa, you can use mixing white if you like. That would be completely fine. But that's not a substitute for fluid white acrylic paint. It's a transparent white, so it's really good for these types of diffuse backgrounds or where you need the white to not be so opaque and overpowering to your color. Uh-huh. It's especially nice in things like your eyes or where you're doing subtle mixes. So,
subtle mix.
In exchange for fluid white acrylic, no, it's not opaque enough, but as part of your whites in your art box, I think it's a good idea to have around. And Stajo's like, I'm working on my acrylic August book right now.
It's a good book to work through.
Oh, so true. Jane says, I haven't been getting my notifications.
You haven't?
Jane, have you signed up for a new text number? Because we had to change text numbers.
We had to text, and I'm going to put Okay, so what I was trying to say through all that was that it's important if you joined in the past to re-sign up, and if you do, sometimes we've had mistakes where folks are accidentally sending the phone number to join instead of join to the phone number. So make sure you get a confirmation message back. You should get something that says, hey, you've joined the Art Sherpa notification. Way! So if not, and if not, then something's gone wrong, and you can email support@theartsherpa.com and we'll figure out how to get you.
And we'll figure it out.
We want to tell you.
All right, I'm going to take a little yellow over here, and I'm going to grab my fluid white. And you can keep going over that. I'm just going to...
No, it's time for me to
and I'm
take this down.
Come through here and just very carefully paint some little hairs that have little highlights. Grab a little more fluid white on here.
I'll be back. There's a I'm gonna leave it here on the left hand shoulder over you, so they can see the little hairy hairs get made, and then I'm gonna go refill my espresso.
You're gonna refill your espresso.
Did you want
grabbing
to refill?
a little bit of if you take your Cad Red and your Cad Yellow over to your burnt sienna, Do I want a new espresso? No. Well, you could steam me back up. Steam me up, Scotty. I'm going to continue to like make sure that there's a little line of hair here, though. Kind of tucks over that ear. Take my brush into a little bit of water, and then I kind of it's looking really good. Now I'm going to take my white over to my yellow ochre. And I might put some little black in it so that it's slightly cooler. So it's not my bright. And come up here and along this little edge, add those little hairs. And then I'm going to come through this ear adding little hairs. They're going to blow across. And a little bit back there. So we're now almost to the place where we can start to be focusing on the markings that we're dealing with. I'm going to go ahead and get a little white on my brush here and see if coming here doesn't. Kind of like blending that little light in here. That's looking super good. But now we've got to start thinking about like the patternings and markings. So when, let's continue to sort of evolve the hair up here. I'm going to take a little bit of my black and my burnt sienna together. I'm going to add a little water so that they have good flow. And I'm going to thicken up the fur. And improve the coverage for everything I see here. I can always come and get into my little white area. Just a little bit on the far face. Little burnt sienna, burnt umber. I'm going to turn this to the side a little bit. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to take my number 6.
You okay?
I'll need you soon.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think we should, I don't know when we last did a step. A moment ago, then we're good. I'm going to add a little, start working out the markings. So off the top of the eyes, kind of coming back and flowing down as a little stripe. And there's a little stripe. Make little short brush marks here. Little short, 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 short. Now what will happen is when I come back with my highlights, that's going to be what really, really changes it up. Put my glasses on so I can see well. I'll roll my brush, load the black on the tip. This is the number 6 sepia round. That's what I'm using right now. Come up over the top. Come here and have a little stripe back here. Okay, a little stripe there. Adding a little bit of depth there. A little bit at the corner. A little bit of kind of shadow and everything there. I'm going to go ahead and get my beige kind of under the eye color going again. Let's bring the fluid over there so it's ready to go. I'm going to take my number 1 liner. I'm going to make sure that there's a nice little white highlight there. Nice one right there. Grab my just white. My sad old coffee. Fresh. Fresh. Adding little white guard hairs. And we have lots of little patterns. Lots of little patterns. And then I can come in with, oh, sorry.
Okay.
I want to point out the perfect monk's head on the cup. That's what they call that foam pattern. I would have called it a peach or a bum bum, but
I don't know.
they named it. So
when you pour it that way, that's how it does it. It does. Thank you, Bree.
when you pour it that way, you get to name it.
That's how it does.
That's how it do. Now I'm going to mist my paint so that it's not gummy. This is just water. I'm going to get my grainer. A little bit of my white and come into my kind of light stripe color.
You a new step here?
No, let's do a new step here.
All right.
I'm going to add a little burnt sienna to it. And I'm going to come right here and paint little hairs. This is going to seem like I'm doing some sort of magic trick here in a second, and I promise you that I'm not, and that it can happen on your canvas as well. Add some little stripy hairs there. Oh, thank you, Bree Snyder. I appreciate that so much. And then I'm going to kind of squeeze the extra paint out of my brush and load it to the end. And then we're going to do a little stripe coming down this direction. I will be getting a lighter color on it. I just want that first one first. Underneath there. Come along this black stripe. Rinse out a bit. It's probably feeling kind of exciting now. Improve my black. Just making sure I got a nice flow. And a little bit there, just a little bit. Kind of coming up here, kind of coming up here. We want to just have some little stripes. Sometimes I'll be working with the brush and it just is clumpy and then I have to wipe it off. I'm going to go ahead and get a little glazing liquid and some burnt sienna. It's a nice color. Start to play with the fur down this way. We'll grab a little bit of our light fur color. There you go, just coming down on that little stripe like that. Just keep adding them where you see them. Just little bits of hair out on the M. I am obsessed with these cats. I think it shows. Let's see how that looks overhead. How we doing? We're doing pretty darn good. I'm super pleased now. I'm going to grab a little bit of my black and brown paint. I haven't even rinsed my brush out. Maybe a little more black because there's a bit of a, it's kind of a stripe there. Sometimes I get some glazing liquid just to improve the flow. Just a little shadow. Another little one there. I just put some shadows in the fur to make it look like it's pieced out and it's broken, clumping together. I'll come back and put some more highlights in there. Now I'm going to take my titanium white, yellow ochre, and a little bit of Mars black to make it less bright. You could also use the ultramarine blue. And a little bit longer on those hairs through there. Get a little black onto my brown here. Kind of make sure I'm taking care of my fur through this whole area. All right, let's look at this little guy overhead. Oh, he's looking pretty. He looks nice. Ooh, I might need a sip of my coffee and just take him in for a second. Because you got to, at this point, decide where you're going, what you want to do with it. You know, I do like him quite a lot. Jane Garrett says, I think I'm going to try to repaint my tabby after this.
Yeah.
And Vicky's like, I'm obsessed with them also. And Jane's like, the red in tabbies is called a sunspot. Now, that is a fun fact. Melissa Hill says, I make the brush look like magic. Well, the brush is a little bit magic. It does help. I am going to show y'all how to make one, though.
The magic is in you.
The magic is in you, not the brush. Though the brush can help a little bit.
Having the right tool does make the job easier.
Mm-hmm.
Not to undersell
any of it. But it does.
It does.
I'm going to go ahead and get my fluid white.
Is this a new step then?
No, I don't know if it's a new step. I think I'm continuing
This was just a consideration between steps?
I'm going to just sort of blend out some little more dimensionality in our little fur area. They're a little lighter, the black tabbies, through their front and their underneath. I'm sure I eventually will be able to get Vigo to pose for something. Because he's such a dark black tabby. That's looking really good. I like the light and everything on that. Okay. Let's call this a step. And put some things aside for a second. What's funny?
I think I just asked that.
Huh?
About stepping.
Well, I'm realizing that I want to put in some flowers and everything for a second.
That's okay. I don't mind. I just think it's funny. I'm humorous. I'm in bemused.
Yeah, I want to do the whiskers last because you never know how the whiskers going to go.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the scary part.
You know more than I do.
I know more than you do, and I don't know how the whiskers are going to go. You're this observer.
Remember the guy in the X-Files who just showed up? And he was just like, he was always seeing things. I was like, why are you here? What are you doing? I'm watching stuff, dude. Freaking them over.
They're really pretty. I'm liking painting cats, by the way. So be warned. Okay. I am going to grab a 1/2-inch angle brush.
It's the cat step.
It's it's going to be some
It's the
flowers
cat
for a
step
while.
now. We're on the cat step 13.
Cat step 13.
I was muted there while I was pontificating.
Okay. The cat was 13 or the flowers 13?
This is now 13.
Okay, that's fine.
We're on the 13th
I'm going to
step.
grab a little bit of my Quinacridone and my Cad Red together. And then some titanium white. I'm going to just start with a nice peachy color. Added some yellow to it. And I'm going to make little marks. Some of them will be darker, some of them will be lighter. But what they'll be is crisper edges than the background out of focus flowers. Come in with some white if I want to. I can come with some white if I feel like it. Now put it in there if I want to. Maybe a little more yellow so it's a little more peach. A little more warm pink, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of white there. Just making those little flowers work. Wipe off my brush so I don't have so much pigment on it because I want to make a much lighter pink. There we go. And come over here. Just a little more Cad Red in it. It's interesting. So I just dance through these colors.
Mm-hmm.
Dance through the colors. You can even get a little...
We could say it's a dancey dance.
Put some burnt sienna into that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I agree with Heather. I like this better than the reference photo.
Me too.
It's better.
Me too.
Better, better, better.
Having lived with these little cats for a second, I have to tell you that they are just a joy. I just use these little marks to make up-close flowers. And a little bit lighter. So again, I'm kind of trying to downplay the flowers, like just have the feeling of the flowers out here. Grab a little bit of our lighter color. Little more in focus.
Mm-hmm.
And take a little bit of my Quinacridone Magenta. Weirdly, my Mars Black. Put some centers to the flowers. Everywhere you put a center, it will feel like a flower now.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun way to paint the flowers. It's also a good way to put them where they're distant, totally out of focus, slightly forward, a little more in focus, but not all the way in focus. Let's play with the focus of our minds. Look at that, little centers. Okay, now I'm going to want to dry everything thoroughly.
Thoroughly.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit.
Thoroughly.
There's some thorough, complete drying. Make sure you completely dry it. And that's because the furs, and we talked about that. But here, it's flowers and furs, because you got to have the delicate flowers as well as the furs. But this will probably go pretty quick. I don't think it'll take too long. Getting some of the espresso in there. I didn't realize just how big of a thing that drinking espresso is. It's like I've really come to quite enjoy it, and it's quite delightful. if you like tasty drinks, I highly recommend looking into it. It's a
What are we looking into?
espressos. They're tasty.
Espresso.
They're tasty drinks.
All right, I'm going to grab another 0 Raphael Precision brush. This is because I want something small. And I'm going to try to do something that I don't generally try to do, but let's go for it. I'm going to take a little bit of my black and brown together. And I'm going to come right here. Like a little dot. Another little dot. Another little grouping of dots. Just a little bit lighter right here. Kind of like to sort of show our, just have that little stripe kind of go across there. So we've got a little bit of those little spots that might hold whiskers. And then I've got to put in whiskers. I may put out fresh fluid paint. Why am I putting out fresh? Because it has not begun to thicken and it will flow off my brush easier. I'm going to use this tiny, tiny little brush and I'm going to do my best. I will load a very light line. Like, look, you can barely see the speck of paint on my brush. That's how light it is. That's how much fun it's going to be. A speck. Speck. Trying to decide how I want to do this. I wonder if I can use chalk, pre-sketch my path, and then trace over my... I can. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can't. Going to get just a dot, just a speck. I'll come down here and I will start to do little whiskers. I might have to turn my canvas so I have a nice brush stroke. Really, really challenging. So don't feel weird about it. If it is, it's hard. Hard to keep your hand steady, hard to keep the line smooth. Hard. Which is why a lot of times I don't do whiskers. It's a fine line. Whiskers are a fine line. They are. If you've got a good paint pen, sometimes you can do that. Or if you've got a grease pen, sometimes you can do that. Trying to make that a little less. So I'm going to bring one back here. These are going to kind of curl around. Oops, my hand skipped. So what I do is I'll come back and erase the skip. Come back and try again. I'll come back to the line a little bit back from where I lost it. And then just bring that back down. So it is possible if you mess up a line to just be like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Just adding thick lines, fine lines, funny lines. Let's look at it overhead, see how it's pulling. All right, so we're having whiskers. So I promised, like when I did a cat again, I would whisker up. I'm whiskering up. If I had an exhibit or something, I probably would do this with like a hair fine liner, like so fine, and then probably also I would use fluid acrylic ink. Go ahead and a couple little fine hairs to the ears. That looks good. I'm going to come up and add some more fine hairs to the ears. You're going to have to come up to the top of the ear because I'm about to go off screen. No, it's just coming off screen. So I'm kind of coming here. There we got nice tufts. I think, let's look at it. I think I'm happy.
Yeah.
I might want to knock that one whisker back a little bit, and I'll just take a little bit of gray and glazing liquid.
This guy came together a lot faster than I was expecting today.
And I'll
Really
gray
nice.
that whisker right there so that it's not as bright across the cat. That'll keep it from pulling too much attention. It will show. It will just show as a lighter whisker. I'm going to also kind of maybe gray these a bit. So it's just a little black and glazing liquid. Just to make these less like white only. But the ones coming off to the right, they can be as bright as you can think of.
Yeah.
Because they're in that bright sunlight. So that's why I did that. All right. I'm going to grab my pink here. This might be a little much, but we'll see. I really wanted another cat painting. So
This one turned out so nice.
yeah,
It's an excellent cat painting.
it's an excellent cat painting. Don't worry, we've got dog paintings coming soon too. Some really great ones.
This is just nice. Turned out so nice. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm so happy we did this today. I'm really
too.
glad. So this looks a lot like my cat Vigo,
It does.
but it's not my cat Vigo. But looks a lot like him. He's just a little blacker through here. I will try to get one where he's like posed where I can totally paint him and everything. Guys, this was
this
our
is so fun.
super fun project, and I loved every minute of it. I hope you had fun painting with me, and I hope like this helps you paint tabbies or pattern cats in your lives.
So
And
can
then
I ask something?
what?
Is there anything coming up that they should be aware of?
Yeah, acrylic April. No, acrylic August. So starting August 1st, we are going to be going live. Premiering every single day with live chat.
Premiering.
A new lesson. And this program is a daily painting challenge that I do every year. Thank you, Angela Maxwell. It's to help people be able to paint like this sooner. So if you're having a hard time getting here, it's a good program. If you're really new to painting, it's a really good program. And we just paint every day together. We meet up every day. There's support groups. It's going to go for 31 days. We may actually continue this has been such a stressful year, and I have fun when we have stressful stuff going on. I like to have more live art lessons coming up so that we can distract ourselves from the things that are stressing us out. And I'm not even going to mention why it's stressful. We all know why it's stressful. We're all living in it. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not going to be less stressful for any time soon. That way, we're going to have art every day so we can decompress and get back to ourselves. Barbara says, is it easier to be more loose when painting on a larger subject? Yes. Yes, it's easier to be, the larger the canvas is, the easier it is to either be realistic or loose. It gives you more space. It's like wide open spaces, room for your brush strokes. You can really see what you're painting. When you paint a tiny, tiny little canvas, very hard to see your work. When you paint a very big canvas and you step back and look at it, it's very easy to see your work. So the larger the work is, the easier it is to either be loose or more controlled. Coop in the mountains says, oh, wow, I had to leave for an hour, come back so impressed, so realistic. Way to hit the recovery road running. Thank you so much. I do feel significantly more like myself, but it is this program, Acrylic August, that helped me do that because I had to do the program for myself to recover from this January. And so painting every day has really helped me, and I know it's going to really help you. You can see I'm getting back to myself here. I think you guys are going to love it. I want y'all to be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel real soon. Bye-bye.